Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dang Xiong. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. In late August, a collaborative effort among 9 departments resulted in the issuance of the implementation plan for the My Hometown, My Responsibility campaign. This plan aims to motivate and guide retired officials, teachers, medical professionals, technicians, and military personnel to return to their rural hometowns and establish residence. These individuals are encouraged to take on roles as mentors for industrial development, supervisors of village affairs, gatherers of social sentiment information, and advisors for village development. Which are the 9 departments involved? They include the Ministry of Agricultural and Rural Affairs, the National Development and Reform Commission, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Civil Affairs, the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security, the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Rural Development, the Ministry of Veterans Affairs, and the All China Federation of Industry and Commerce. The plan requires county-level governments to establish a functional framework for the My Hometown, My Responsibility initiative. This initiative aims to encourage rural residents, university students, skilled individuals, migrant workers, and entrepreneurs to contribute to the development of their hometowns. Additionally, the plan highlights the exploration of mechanisms that allow rural collective economic organizations to involve talented individuals. Furthermore, it also mentions initiatives such as appointing a group of esteemed and impartial local talents as mediators for neighborhood disputes, encouraging university students studying abroad to contribute their skills to hometown development and voluntary services, and supporting the deployment of design services to rural areas, guiding designers and teams who possess a strong affinity for village, a deep understanding of farming communities, and a familiarity with local conditions to engage in rural projects, among others. Upon reviewing this document, my immediate response is one of puzzlement. I find it difficult to comprehend why there is a push to encourage retired seniors to relocate back to their hometowns. If the goal is to contribute to the growth of rural communities and small towns, retirees might not possess substantial development abilities. Additionally, considering the potential health challenges that come with old age and the need for access to urban medical resources, it raises questions about the rationale behind urging them to return to rural areas. In present-day China, rural areas are grappling with severe population decline as a significant portion of the rural workforce migrates to urban centers for employment. This phenomenon extends to even the younger generation, leaving rural areas with predominantly elderly and vulnerable residents. Economic downturn in recent years have prompted rural migrant workers to return to their villages from cities, though prospects for them remain limited upon their return. The concentrated presence of adult labor in rural regions raises concerns within the Chinese Communist Party about potential instability. As a response, there is an initiative to invite influential individuals back to rural areas, potentially to guide and stabilize the returning migrant workers. This initiative also aims to encourage retired urban professionals to re-establish themselves in rural communities, taking on leadership roles. In other words, act like Xiangshen. The term xiangshen originally referred to a historical class in China that existed for an extended period. These were individuals in various villages who had retired from official position and achieved success as merchants or scholars. They held a notable status within rural communities, taking on responsibilities like infrastructure development and educating children from their own clan. They followed the principles of Confucius and Mencius, emphasizing values like benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, trustworthiness, kindness, humility, and frugality. They were respected mediators within their clans and were also recognized at the county level for their influence. However, with the rise of the Chinese Communist Party and its governance, the kinship system was dismantled, and the social group known as xiangshen was stigmatized as local tyrants and evil gentry. Historical records reveal that during the early stages of CCP rule and the land reform initiatives, the land and all assets belonging to the rural xiangshen class were seized, resulting in the loss of millions of lives. This marked the complete elimination of the rural elite class, leading to significant changes in China's rural social dynamics and the traditional cultural fabric. The current approach by the CCP to promote xiangshen culture differs significantly from the historical concept of xiangshen in ancient China, which was based on the kinship structure of society. However, the CCP's various campaigns after assuming power have effectively eroded the traditional culture, including the entire class of xiangshen. The present endeavors to revive xiangshen culture, ostensibly for maintaining political stability, have undergone substantial changes and deviate from the original essence. If retired individuals such as officials, teachers, doctors, technicians, and veterans who used to reside in urban areas decide to return and settle in rural regions, a significant question arises: what will be their accommodation options? The matter of where these retirees will live and whether they can inherit or purchase residential land for their settlement has emerged as a central area of focus. According to an announcement from the Agricultural and Rural Affairs Department of Hubei Province, urban retirees are allowed to inherit and lease rural homes. They are also encouraged to collaborate with local villages in constructing houses. However, the buying, selling, or inheriting of residential land is prohibited. The Agriculture and Rural Committee of Chongqing Municipality stated that the return of rural elites to their hometowns for renovation of existing homes raises the question about the fundamental rural residential land system. As per the current framework of this system, since these rural elites are not members of the local collective economic organization, they do not currently meet the necessary conditions to apply for renovating houses in rural areas. The Chinese Communist Party's call for retired officials to return to their hometown and settle in rural areas for their retirement suggests that the party might be facing financial limitations and budgetary challenges. Retired officials, former educators, medical professionals, and veterans, all of them supported by state resources, are being encouraged to return to their rural roots. This initiative seems to be driven by a desire to ease the financial strain on local governments, much like the ongoing trend of reducing civil service positions or cutting their salaries. In urban settings, particularly in major cities, these retirees heavily draw on medical insurance and other social resources, which is becoming increasingly unsustainable for government budgets. By relocating these individuals to rural areas, the government's financial burden can be significantly alleviated, considering the lower medical standards in rural communities compared to urban centers. The CCP's call for returning to hometowns appears to be a strategy to entice retired individuals to move back to rural areas, effectively aiding the government's efforts in cost reduction. The current state of governance by the Chinese Communist Party is in disarray. On one hand, they issued documents encouraging individuals to return to rural areas and urging county-level governments to establish a mechanism for the My Hometown, My Responsibility initiative, offering convenient living and medical facilities. However, on the other hand, they also assert that the homestead land cannot be touched. This raises the question: if homestead land cannot be accessed, where are people supposed to reside? While they suggest collaborating with villagers to build houses, such collaborative efforts lack property rights, and the government retains the authority to evict individuals at any time, as seen in Beijing. The distinction between large property rights house and the small property rights house also becomes blurry in the face of such cooperative arrangements. This policy lacks legal safeguards, enabling the government to enforce evictions without dual recourse. Hence, I caution retired officials, teachers, and healthcare professionals not to be deceived by the Chinese Communist Party's tactics. Think twice, maybe 3 times, before returning to your hometown for retirement. The CCP's intention is to encourage you to settle permanently in your hometown, not simply retire there. In China, the legal process of settling down involves adjusting your household registration, and it's not merely about visiting family or seeking support from friends. This implies a permanent change in your residential status. So be vigilant and don't fall into this trap. In reality, I also have confidence that no one would fall for this ploy. The people in China today are vastly different from those of 40 years ago, particularly the officials within the Communist Party. They have managed to move away from underdeveloped and isolated regions, and convincing them to return to their hometowns is nearly an impossible task. If they were to leave, they would most likely choose foreign countries where they feel safer and can easily relocate their assets. As for the average technical professionals, they are content with their urban lifestyles. The Communist Party's aspiration is for these individuals to bring their wealth and expertise to rural areas, effectively becoming local leaders. However, it's doubtful that many would actually place their trust in this proposition. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.